Never let it be said I don't pay attention to feedback and make changes where appropriate. I had a couple of people suggest that just doing the transfers and then doing the holiday mode in isolation doesn't really mean anything. We need something to compare it to. So from today onwards, we're going to be doing the transfer window and holidaying through to the end of the season as originally planned, but we're going to be comparing it against a baseline holiday mode where I didn't get involved, and we're going to see if we can do better than the AI does. I hope I can do better than the AI does. Hello folks and welcome to day 3 of Kev's Window Wonderland. I'm Kev, and I'm now the Ajax manager apparently for the third day of all this. Ajax is going to be a different kind of challenge to what we've done with either of the first couple of clubs, mainly because it's a club that's been absolutely gutted. It's lost all of its star players over the course of the summer, but then gone out and spent some money as well. So there's kind of already been a bit of a rebuild job gone on. But as far as I'm aware, the club have spent far less than they've actually brought in. If we have a little look at transfers that have gone on so far, £166 million worth of player sales. Most notable, of course, De Jong and De Ligt, both leaving for enormous amounts of money. But they've spent £50 million. There's been a lot of players come in. Lisandro Martinez is somebody who I've signed in my Manchester United series, and he is awesome. Quincy Promes is someone who I mainly know from playing FIFA. But there's a couple of other players in there as well. It's a decent bunch of purchases already, and £65 million left, which is awesome. What I'm probably going to want to do straight away is throw a bunch of that over into the wage budget, because it's not letting me, because we haven't agreed on vision stuff yet. Hold on. Let's just go and agree to the vision. We don't need to look at any of that other stuff. There you go. Confirmation that all the biggest transfers so far have concerned us. Apparently, we've already spent £99 million, which doesn't quite add up with what we've got on there, which is a bit of a weird one. But if we can go and adjust the budget now, so maybe give ourselves another £150,000 a week of wage budget, still gives us a huge transfer budget to spend. So I'll have a little play around with that. Before we get started in business, we need to have a little look to see how the AI did with Ajax, so I know what I actually have to beat. So here we go. Then I've holidayed a year into the future, and Ajax, as expected, won the league. Won the league with 82 points. Won it at an absolute landslide. I'm just going to make a note of 82 points, because that's going to be our points targets to beat. But obviously we need to have a better season than they've had without me. So they've won the Johan Cruyff Schal Cup, whatever that is. I don't know what that is. Is that a pre-season friendly thing? So basically, they've won the Dutch league. Did they do any signings without me? Without me. Obviously, because I didn't take over. So they didn't bring any further players in. They just left as it is without any further signings. That squad is enough to get 82 points and romp the Dutch league. How did they get on in the Champions League? That might be a better gauge of how we do. They lost to Juventus in the first knockout round. So if we can win the league and get past the first knockout round of the Champions League, I'd consider that doing a better job than what was done by the AI. That's what I need to go and beat. And this is what we're working with. So if we have a look at the team report, someone did suggest do all positions. Very good shout. Don't know why I haven't been doing that anyway, when we don't know what tactics we're going to be playing. So having a quick look at this, we've got one good striker, Dusan Tadic, who is 30 years old, though. Not really a typical Ajax player. But then, to be fair, scored a lot of goals last year. So I guess we can probably live with keeping him around. But we might want another striker, because our other guy's 35. There's definitely the need to bring in a younger striker to come through and offer some kind of competition to these guys, maybe come in to replace those. We've got decent attacking midfielders, as you would expect. Promes on one side, Ziyech, 26-year-old Moroccan, can play in behind the front two or out wide on the right. We've got Van der Beek, who is a player I've signed plenty of times in Football Manager in the past. One of our youngsters. The next generation who's going to come through and get sold, presumably. And then central midfield, we look a little bit weak. We've got Van der Beek in there again, Ziyech in there again, but really central midfield, probably an area that we need to be strengthening. We've got Daley Blind in there, but really a defender rather than a central midfielder. I think we definitely probably need to be thinking in terms of central midfielders. Decent left back, not much in the way of right backs or centre backs, to be honest. I mean, I know we've mentioned Blind, we've mentioned Martinez. I think that's probably a partnership we can work with. And then in goal, we've got Andre Onana, who is who's been there a few years now, having joined from Barcelona a long time ago. Tactic-wise, I'm not completely certain what I'm going to build around, and obviously a lot of this gets left in the hands of the director of football anyway. But if we get a rough idea, I don't want to do a gegenpress with Ajax. That seems insane. I also don't want to do 5 at the back. I'm thinking, I like this kind of system. We've got a decent attacking midfielder, so let's train a few different versions of 4-2-3-1, and then hope my assistant manager plays it. In fact, perhaps it wouldn't hurt to have a more defensive version of it in there as well. And then why not have a gegenpress being trained? What's the worst that could happen with a gegenpress? There you go. We'll get that in there too. So I'm thinking probably in terms of central midfielders. Phil Foden is there as an option. So there's a few players who have already appeared on our scout reports, so we'll certainly have a look at some of those. But initial scouted players, Sander Berge, another one of those players you go out and buy at the start of a Football Manager 19 save. Declan Rice, again, I mean, he's probably too expensive. Berge is a definite possibility, though, because, again, he's another one who I signed plenty of times in FM19. He fits the bill of being a young central midfielder, which is a position we need to strengthen. Ajax, youngster. He looks like he could be absolutely spot on. Maybe Phil Foden. I don't want to buy him, but maybe getting him in on loan for the year wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But we'll have a little bit of a play around. I'll come back at the end of the transfer window, as usual, show you what I've done, and then hopefully we can overachieve against what the AI has already done, which is quite a good job. Well, considering how much money I've just had to spend, that is one of the most frustrating transfer windows I have ever done. The amount of people, the amount of players who've turned me down, the amount of transfers that have fallen through. It seems Ajax don't have as much pull as you'd think we do. And we may have already been knocked out of the Champions League. So it's all about trying to beat that 82-point total. And I definitely panic bought towards the end. There you go. You can see a couple of the deals that fell through just because I couldn't get deals arranged. So frustrating. That's not the right button. That's the right button. So we started things off by selling Klaas-Jan Huntelaar for almost nothing, loaning a few players out. And then to balance that out, I let my youth development man have free reign to do whatever he felt like doing. So he's brought in a few free transfers. But my first signing was Mauro Ortiz, 24-year-old Argentinian who comes in as good as Tadic and hopefully is going to have some goals in him, although he's not had a great start to life at Ajax. Phil Foden's in on loan for the year, though. That's been a better signing. He's worked out quite well so far. Nice squad number, Phil. Did you pick that yourself? Oh, you can tell he's an English teenage boy, can't you? Goodness me. Who else did we bring in? Anders Trondsen, 24-year-old Norwegian international central midfield player. We couldn't get Sander Berge, as you saw, so we got his cheaper, not as good compatriot. Does that mean from the same country? Yeah, he's. Oh dear. And then I just did 3 panic signings on deadline day, so we don't know if they're going to be any good. Fabrizio Bustos, 23-year-old Argentinian international right back, who's not as good as the right backs we've already got. Victor Tsingankot, this guy, who is our record signing apparently, 21-year-old Ukrainian international, not as good as what we've currently got, but with lots of potential. If he was 3.5 million rather than 35 million, you'd call it a proper Ajax signing, but he cost £35 million. He's also only 21 years old, but has club records going back 10 years. Has this man been a professional footballer since he was 11? Or was he lying about his age? And then lastly, Thiago Maia, 22-year-old Brazilian under-20 international. I think this might end up being my best signing of the summer. 3-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability, and hopefully will just turn out any good. I'm really not happy. I couldn't spend the money. I had so much money to spend, and believe it or not, club reputation actually makes a difference. And I'm so disappointed. I'd like to think that's a better squad than the one they had before, but it's not the calibre of player I was looking to bring in. It's almost as if the game forces you to bring in unknown youngsters and develop them. You can't go out and spend £40 million on a top striker at Ajax. The game doesn't let you. Let's see how we get on. 82 points is the target. And we did it by 2 points. I'm calling this the first success of the series so far because it was measurable. We finished on 84 points as opposed to the 82 points that the useless AI managed to finish on. It doesn't look like they went out and spent any more money. Let's have a little look. There's a couple of transfers that are arranged to go through, but no one else came in. Just the one player leaving who was a nothing player, really. Let's have a look at the players I brought in to see how they got on. Ortiz. Okay, let's not worry about him. Phil Foden, who of course won't be here next year, but wow. 30 appearances, 11 goals, a 7.44 average. That looks like a difference maker to me. Anders Tronson. Okay. I'm 2-1 down. Fabrizio Bustos. I'll call that a success. 24 appearances, 3 goals, 6 assists, a 7.45. It's 2-2. With 2 players remaining. Victor Goff. He comes in with a 7.09. I mean, for the price, 9 goals though. Kev's 3-2 up. And the deciding vote, Thiago Maia, who has weighed in 27 goals, 27 appearances, 1 goal, 2 assists, a 7.22. I would say that is largely a successful bunch of transfers. I guess one way we could check is by having a look at what the board think of my transfers. They're saying Maya is a C, is a D. Bustos is an A minus though, E for Tronson, an A plus for Phil Foden, and an F for Ortiz. I mean, I can't really argue with any of those grades. I mean, I think it's fair to say they're not much better off with me being in charge, are they? But how have we got on in the Europa League? Should we have a little look? Schedule, because obviously if we've won the Europa League, then that's a bonus. Got knocked out by Getafe in the first knockout round. Well, at least we won the league with 2 extra points compared to what the AI did. Kev is officially better at transfers than better than nothing. There you go. That might be. I'll bring some merch out at the end of this series. Better than nothing. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.